up, Femi?
Well, today, there's this picture of this thread, and it's enlarged, as you can see. In this thread, there are hundreds of fibers. We're going to show you a little demonstration. So here we have 2 sticks and a string attached to each of them, and we're going to use the same strengths on each side to pull at them, and we'll see if it breaks or not. Okay? So the first one is this burlap thread. So I'm going to pull it. It broke quite easily too. Now let's try this white one, which is the cotton thread. It's 100% cotton. Now let's try that. Okay, ready? That one broke really easily, actually. And this last one that we have here, as you can see, it's a mixed fabric. This can count for our polyester blend. And we'll test just exactly as we did the other ones. Okay. That one took a lot more strength to break. I could feel it. Okay, so right there we just saw different strengths of different threads. So why is that important for us to know?
What makes up our clothes?
Yes, exactly. Our clothes are made up of that. So it's really important that we start to discover and explore different types of thread, their strengths, what they're used for. So that brings us to our question of the day, which is, how are natural and man-made resources different? Our first term is natural resources. Can everyone say natural resources with me?
Natural resources.
And the definition for that is materials taken from the earth, okay? So our second term of the question of the day, which we haven't learned yet, is man-made resources. Can everyone say that with me?
Man-made resources.
Awesome. Man-made resources are materials that do not exist in nature, okay? So we're gonna get started with the lesson today.
Alright guys, today we're going to be doing a fun and engaging activity that allows us to test the strength of these different types of fibers. So coming around to test out the materials. Rules and expectations. We expect you to be scientists. Science is fun, so be a scientist. We expect you to be safe. Safety is our #1 priority. And pay attention and follow instructions. Alright? Cool. So you can go ahead and dig in your baggies, take out the different materials. You guys recognize some of these items? Yes? Any guesses as to what A is, material A is? Okay, that's right, it is in fact wool. Do you know whether or not it's a natural resource or a man-made resource?
Natural. Like
Natural?
from a sheep.
Natural from a sheep. Wool is in fact the type of natural resources which comes from sheep, as the board has pointed out. We use wool to make different types of clothing, right? Okay, let's look at material B. Do you identify that?
Draw.
Any ideas? So we do use burlap to make potato sack. That type of material is called burlap. So the board, you are correct. It's burlap that's used to make potato sack. Do you know whether or not it's a natural resource or a man-made resource? Okay, well it is natural, and it comes from the earth. It's not man-made, but that was a good guess. More specifically, it comes from jute plants. So the source of a burlap type of fabric is a jute plant. So how do we make burlap into fabric? Any guesses, ideas?
With machines.
With machines. Okay, yeah, we use machines. As Danielle pointed out, we use machines to thread the fiber together to make fabric, okay? Okay, let's look at material C. You guys are correct. It is in fact cotton, okay?
It's natural.
It's natural, it's on the board, that's right.
Yeah.
Cotton is a type of natural resource that comes from cotton plant. How do we get cotton?
You have to harvest it.
Okay, we harvest it.
With a cotton picking machine.
Cotton picking machine, yeah.
You have
Great.
to clean it.
Clean it. Okay, before we turn into clothing, all right? Okay, let's look at the fourth material, labeled D.
Is it polyester?
Polyester, that is correct. How did you know?
Because it was the only one on the paper that made sense.
Okay, you use context clues.
Very good.
That's good. Good test-taking strategy. But yeah, it is indeed polyester. Is polyester a man-made resource or a natural resource?
Man-made.
Man-made. So what does that mean?
That a person made it.
That a person made it? Did it come from the earth?
No.
No.
No, not quite. But to make polyester, what we do is we use oil, a natural resource rather, and we combine it with other fibers. And what that results in is polyester, which is a very strong fiber. Let's look at our last material, labeled E. I think it just looks familiar to a lot of us. Okay, where do jeans come from? Okay, I'll help you guys out. It's actually made from cotton. Okay, and where do we say cotton comes from?
Plant.
Cotton plants, that's right.
It's natural.
It's natural, great. Nice connection there. Yes, because jeans come from cotton. And we know that cotton comes from cotton plant, which is a type of natural resource. Jeans are in fact natural resource. Jeans also come from natural resources.
So if we look at our worksheet that you guys have, we have a couple of tests. So the first test is to rub one of the rocks, either or, on the material, on each of your materials, and then we're gonna go ahead and describe what's going on. Okay, so we'll do the first one together. So let's get fabric A out. So fabric A, we have the limestone and the other reddish rock, right? Okay, so we're gonna start by rubbing them with the same strength. And it's important that you do that because we want a controlled experiment. So we'll start rubbing, do it about 6 times.
Carrying the fabric.
But then after the 6 times, we're gonna go ahead and document what we saw on the piece of material. So after rubbing it, the limestone, which is a white rock, doesn't look worn, torn, or no change.
There is definitely, it's furrier.
It's furrier, so it looks kind of damaged, would you say?
Yes.
So if it looks damaged, we're gonna check, looks worn. So everyone go ahead and do that. And then we had the red rock as well, correct? And what did the red rock do? Did it do anything after rubbing it 6 times?
Yeah.
What did it do? Does it look torn or worn or no change?
It tears up and the fabric sticks to the rock too. It's like, it's really scratchy.
Okay, so then if there's a tear, let's put looks torn. So we'll check that. So what I would like you all to do is do the same thing, but with all the other materials. With the next part of the lesson. The next part of the lesson is where we're going to be testing strength, okay? So if you look at the second part of your worksheet, yes. So it says put the fabric on the ground. So let's get fabric A. We're going to put it on the ground next to your chair, and we're going to stomp on it 6 times. All right, we did it. Now, I want you guys to gently pull the fabric from one side to the other. So what did we see happen in fabric A?
It's worn
It looks worn still?
and it might be a little bit torn because it's like falling apart at the edges.
Oh, okay, let's document that. So we'll check, it looks worn, maybe even a little bit torn. So, and then whenever we pull the fabric, what happened then? Is that when we experienced the tear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then let's do that instead, actually. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so from here on out, I want you guys to do the same thing with the rest of the sets of fabric, okay? So before we get started doing the rest of the materials, let's go over a term. You guys might have heard it before. It's called strength. Can everyone say strength with me?
Strength.
Awesome. So strength is how tough or how strong something is. And then the second term, which we're going to be using for the second test, is fair test. Can everyone say fair test with me?
Fair test.
And fair test is when we use the same pressure and method whenever we're testing objects. And that's what we've been doing, right? We've been trying to keep the same pressure, the same tension along the entire, along our entire experiments, right? Okay, so with those terms in mind, let's get started.
Okay, so we talked about cotton, we know it's used for clothing, right? And we talked about wool, that's used for clothing also. Would you rather have a cotton jacket or a wool jacket? Which one do you think will keep you more warm? Burlap, what do you think burlap is used for? All right, guys, so we filled out some data about our different fabrics, right? So what have we learned today? Let's discuss that. Which one was the strongest? Which one was the weakest?
All right, so we've been learning about all these different types of fibers. So here at UT, we actually do a whole bunch of research with fibers. There's this one professor, his name is Dr. Bug O.U., and he works with fibers, and he actually has what's called a colorimeter. And it, do they have that definition? Maybe not, but colorimeter, it basically tests for impurities within the fabric. So why would that be important? Why do we want our fabric to maybe not have little pieces of dirt or metal or, you know, other things? Why is that important?
It might scratch us or get us dirty.
Yeah, that's a really good point, you know. But what about the strength of the fabric? Do you think it has anything to do with that?
It might weaken it.
It might weaken the fabric, yeah. So we're implementing all these different types of technologies so that we make really good fabric that's strong, that's quality. But the colorimeter also works with maybe removing wrinkles, maybe keeping it waterproof. So we're testing all those different types of things with fabric. So if you all could choose, what type of quality would you want your clothing to have? So as of now, we're gonna pass out a show what you know, and we're gonna give you guys about 2 minutes to go over it. And we'd like this to be done independently, just so we can see where y'all are at. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to raise your hand.